and welcome to the 42nd edition of Marex Maritime News.
India's leading maritime union MUI has said that it has been assured by Union Shipping Minister Mansukh Mandaviya of supply of COVID-19 vaccines for Indian seafarers on a priority basis. Amar Singh Thakur, Secretary General of the Maritime Union of India, said that protection of Indian seafarers' health will be the prime focus of the MUI going forward.
The headlines on Monday, the 30th of November 2020. Crew unhappiness widespread amid COVID-19. Moves afoot to regulate shipping freight rates. BIMCO says worse to come for tanker rates. Cyber attacks rise sharply as industry digitalizes. Coaching shipyard to build electric vessels for Norway. Crew responding to the LR survey have reported feeling unhappy, worry about things they cannot control and do not feel well rested. 27% of survey respondents indicated poor management of workload and fatigue in their teams and not being able to get a good quality of sleep. They also report not socializing on board, not being able to exercise as much as they would like to, and not having access to good quality food.
क्रू चेंज की जो समस्या है इंडियन सीफेरर्स हों या फिर फॉरेन सीफेरर्स हों, पिछले 9 महीने को अगर हम देखें तो आज की तारीख में कंपेयर टू यस्टरडे टुडे वी आर बेटर ऑफ, बट स्टिल वी से दैट डिस्पाइट more than 200,000 seafarers getting benefited in India with the crew change or from India up and down for crew change, there's still a long way to go. उसका मुख्य कारण हमारा ये है कि सिर्फ दुनिया में 30 देश ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने फ्री क्रू चेंज अलाउ किया हुआ है, जैसे इंडिया ने अलाउ किया हुआ है विद स्टैंडर्ड एसओपी. तो माननीय शिपिंग मिनिस्टर मनसुख मांडविया जी का मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं, क्योंकि इंडिया बीइंग वन ऑफ द लीडर्स to tell the world how they value seafarers, whether it's an Indian seafarer or a foreign seafarers. But surprisingly, there are 30 countries in the world which are not at all allowing the crew change, and there are 70 countries in the world which are allowing crew change with restrictions. तो ओनर्स को जहाज डाइवर्ट करने पड़ रहे हैं. पर अगर आप बोलोगे कि क्रू का मोरल कैसा है क्रू चेंज को लेकर, तो आज की तारीख में इट्स वेरी लो. पेसिमिज्म स्टिल रन्स हाई, और मुझे लगता है इसमें बहुत काम करने की जरूरत है. आईएमओ भी काम कर रहा है, बिमको भी काम कर रहा है, शिप ओनर्स भी लगे हुए हैं, हम भी लगे हुए हैं सरकार के साथ इसमें पॉलिसी मेकिंग में. लेकिन अगर क्रू चेंज की रफ्तार ऐसी बनी रही तो मुझे कोई हैरानगी नहीं होगी कि अगर कुछ जहाज रुक जाएं. वैसे ही हम चाइना में देख रहे हैं, कम से कम 60 जहाज इस समय वहां पर पिछले 5 महीने से रुके हुए हैं और क्रू चेंज अलाउड नहीं है. It is absolutely unfair treatment of seafarers. और मैं आशा करता हूं कि इसका कोई ना कोई निवारण जल्दी से जल्दी होगा, और हमसे जो बनेगा हम वो कर रहे हैं और पूरी यथाशक्ति के साथ आगे भी करते रहेंगे.
The plan to regulate freight charges is one of the new provisions in the draft Merchant Shipping Bill 2020. The central government of India has decided to regulate freight charges levied by shipping firms for export, import and local transportation in a move that is bound to run into oppositions from the carriers.
The Indian exporters and even more the Indian importers didn't have much of negotiating capacity for ocean freight rates. Post consolidation of shipping lines and post COVID, it is even less. They also have very little inclination to study the sector and identify the causes of increase in freight rates, causes of shortage of containers and shortage of space. Hence, their challenges need to be addressed, but the solution doesn't necessarily lie in the suggestions made by them, that is regulating the freight rates or the freight. Regulations, particularly in areas of commercial aspects of business, increase the cost of doing business and impair competition. Over-regulation, in fact, creates entry barriers and nurtures monopolies and oligopolies. The government therefore needs to regulate, but not the freight rates. What government needs to ensure is that the free market forces are at play, there is adequate competition in the market, and there is adequate choice for the customers, which includes the importers, exporters, and the freight forwarders. The government and private sector also has to take up seriously building of Indian tonnage of container ships and Indian container owning. There lies the solution for stability in freight rates.
It's interesting to see that the Government of India, through a legislature, wants to regulate the ocean freight as well as the transportation charges. Well, it's interesting because ocean freight is a component which is decided by the shipping line based on the market forces, such as availability of ships, availability of cargo, so many factors. Global practice is it's a free market, the freight has to be determined, and it will vary from time to time. What the government can regulate is the local charges or the local transportation or handling charges, which is a substantial component. But that too won't be easy because the truckers or the rail operators, etc., are not going to they are all into business. They have their own business plans and they cannot be going to a loss just because of the government legislature. But I don't think shipping lines will agree and government is going to face a big challenge. All the best to the government, but I don't think it's going to work.
While the tanker market has had a strong run at the outset of the COVID-19 pandemic, according to a report released recently by BIMCO, tanker shipping will not benefit this year from the usual strong winter seasonal effect. Though the new lockdowns being introduced in many countries are less strict than in the last spring, the effect on tanker shipping will be worse, given the supply glut of Q2. The news of an effective vaccine offers some hope of a global oil demand recovery, but however it comes about, it will be slow and drawn out, and it will be at least 2022 before global oil demand returns to pre-pandemic levels.
The arrival of winter usually gives a seasonal boost to tanker demand, and although much has changed in 2020, many were still counting on an improvement, even a slight one, to the sector. However, the new lockdowns and travel restrictions imposed as a result of a rise in COVID-19 cases, coupled with stock drawdowns, have dashed these hopes.
Hindustan Institute of Maritime Training.
Shipping is seeing a sharp rise in cyber attacks as the industry digitalizes, a process that has been accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Cyber attacks in shipping have been steadily on the rise of late, and safety in shipping today depends heavily on cyber systems with potential consequences towards both finance and safety. Head of Section for Shipping and Technical Advisory for DNVGL told delegates of the INMEX SMM Virtual Expo. There are threats in the field of information technology like IT networks, emails, electronic manuals and certificates, plant maintenance, permits to work, spares management and requisitioning, administration, accounts, crew list, etc. where mainly finance and reputations are at risk.
Yes, cyber vulnerabilities are an absolute risk in this digitalized world. But we in the shipping industry, we tend to treat this risk like a black swan. We have seen only whites, so it doesn't exist. दूसरों के साथ होता होगा, हमारे साथ नहीं होता है. And the IMO has now made it mandatory that the cyber risks need to be as part of the ISM code from 1st January 2021. And there is a good reason for it, because it is very difficult to come out with a technical standard to address cybersecurity for the kind of advancements that keep taking place here. So it is best to be a part of a very dynamic safety management systems as defined in the ISM. But ISM being a regulation, and if this is going to be another regulation which is coming forth, then the response to a regulation is as it is, what it is, that we need to be in compliance. Do what we like, but we need to be in compliance, because the consequences of non-compliance are huge. So somehow I need to be in compliance. So ISM is a paper exercise, and that's where the cybersecurity is going down to be. That on paper, we try and do everything and business as usual. Now here, we at the MASA Maritime Academy in Chennai, we have tied up with a UK organization called the Templar Executives, who have been working very closely with the IMO and the BIMCO on cybersecurity. And we have 3 specific products to deliver. One is an absolute complete cyber risk assessment. Number 2 is, in case there is a cyber attack, then there is an emergency preparedness and response to deal with it. And third, of course, is the training, which ranges from the board level down to the people on board the ship.
Cochin Shipyard Limited, CSL, the largest shipbuilding and maintenance facility in the country, is building 2 autonomous electric vessels with zero carbon emission for a Norwegian company. The production of the vessels began with the plate cutting ceremony organized virtually at the CSL. The 2 vessels are being built for ASKO Maritime AS Norway. CSL said it signed contracts for construction and supply of the 2 autonomous electric ferries for the Norwegian company, with an option to build 2 more identical vessels in July 15 this year. This project is an ambitious one in Norway, particularly funded by the Norwegian government, aimed at emission-free transport of goods across the Oslo fjords.
Captain Anjay Patel, Nautical Surveyor, MMD Kandla, is no more with us. He was 48 and suffered a heart attack. Australian company Windhurst has unveiled a new concept which they believe can address many of the challenges faced in the installation process of and support the growth in offshore wind generation projects. Also, it might present a further solution for issues such as cabotage, which has been challenging the ability for projects to proceed in certain jurisdictions. Called the Ocean Dock LX, it is a 60,000 square meter self-propelled floating platform. It is equipped with dynamic positioning technology to obtain precise locations, while because it is self-propelled, it can easily move within a project or region. It is also ballastable, so that it can take up positions and remain on site versus the current installation vessels that return to ports. The death of the second officer of the UK registered general cargo vessel Carina C in 2019 was caused by several direct and indirect factors, the Marine Accident Investigation Branch MAIB said in an accident report. On 24th May 2019, the second officer of the general cargo ship was crushed between the vessel's gantry crane and a stack of cargo hold hatch covers during operations in Seville, Spain. According to MAIB, intoxication Safety issues and poor communication led to the fatal accident on board the Carina Sea. Equipped with hybrid scrubbers, MSC's new fleet of ultra-large container ships is ready to switch to lower carbon fuels once such fuels are available at scale. By installing a propulsion system on the MSC Gulsun and its 10 sister ultra-large container ships that can be switched to low sulfur fuel or adapted to LNG, the Geneva-based group is lining itself up to take advantage of a range of alternative fuels and technologies in future.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching. See you next Monday.